So guys, you guys are going to be listening to a shocking statement coming from a northern leader, and this is the same thing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had been deliberately shouting for so many years concerning the marginalization of the Igbos. So guys, let's keep this running. Just stay tuned. I will break it down for you guys. Every time the issue of the presidency comes up, there is always one condition: Igbos must beg, Igbos must reconcile, Igbos must seek forgiveness. The question is, what crime did the Igbos commit to be told every election cycle to beg for understanding before leading a country they helped to build? Now, there's something I'm sure that you guys have heard about this northern man who came out and was saying Igbos cannot become president unless they go out and seek understanding from Nigerians, especially from the north and even from the Yoruba. He even admitted the Yoruba are more comfortable to be voted for than the Igbos. This is exactly what Nnamdi Kanu has been saying. There's a deliberate agenda to keep Igbos politically down. What offense did the Igbos commit? That is what I keep asking myself. Every time we talk about presidency, they bring the same story: Igbos must beg, but nobody has ever answered the real question. What did the Igbos do that warrants forgiveness? Where is the evidence of this supposed offense? Or is it just a tool to keep an entire region politically enslaved? Now, Nnamdi Kanu's warning comes alive. Nnamdi Kanu has been warning the system is built to make Igbos second class or even third class citizens. This statement proves it. It's not about reconciliation, it's about control. It's about telling an entire tribe that leadership is a privilege they must beg for, while other regions take it as a right. Now, for decades, the Nigerian presidency has been used as a political weapon against the Igbos. Every election season, they dangle it like a carrot: come and beg, come and reconcile, maybe we will give it to you, but they never do. Enough of this blackmail. A nation created by God cannot be permanently held hostage by men, because they're still using this presidency as a form of blackmail to the Igbos. Oh, before, if election is coming up, they'll say, oh, Igbos, you need to come and beg, or else you guys are not going to win the presidential seat. And enough is enough. So this is the time for every Igbo son and daughter, to open their eyes. The truth is not hidden anymore. When a northern leader openly says you must beg to lead, it's the proof that the system is not broken. It is working exactly as it was designed, to keep the Igbos begging. The question now is, we will continue to accept this? Are we going to really continue to accept this, or will demand a real change? That is justice. Are we going to keep accepting this? Just like I always tell you guys, imagine what this northern man came out to say, that the Igbos must definitely beg for any political case. Like when it comes to presidency, the Igbos must beg if they actually want to win the presidential seat. So it's just like now, as Peter Obi is coming out for 2027 presidential election, so Peter Obi still have to beg in order to be the president of Nigeria. And it's the way they are even saying it is, it's just as if it's something they have designed, and it is now what they are using to work. Now, let's just take a look at the historical perspective. Since 1960, no Igbo man has been democratically elected as president of Nigeria over 60 years, despite contributing massively to the economic trade and unity of the country. The Igbos are still told they must seek understanding first. Does this not prove a systematic exclusion? Let's take a look at the Civil War blackmail. Many times, this seek forgiveness narrative secretly points back to the Biafran War, even though the government claimed there was no victor, no vanquish. If truly the war ended in unity, why is it being used as a silent blackmail every time the Igbos demand their fair share of leadership? The economic contribution first, political reward. The Igbos control a massive part of commerce in Nigeria. They rebuild cities after every crisis. They invest in every state, yet politically they are treated as outsiders in their own nation. Nnamdi Kanu called this an insult. You eat from our sweat, yet you deny us our rights. These people just, they come and eat from our sweat, but they just deny us our right. Why only Igbos must beg? No one told the North to seek understanding before Buhari became president. No one told the North to come and beg before Buhari became the president. They just, made him the president of Nigeria. So why are Igbos the ones begging? No one told the Yoruba to beg before Obasanjo or Tinubu became the president. Why is it only the Igbos who must go on a national apology tour to be considered? This is not democracy. This is targeted exclusion. Now, when you repeatedly tell a people they must beg before being accepted, you are saying they are not equal citizens. That is how resentment and division grew. Instead of healing the nation, this mindset is pushing Nigeria further apart. This was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's exact words. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said they will never give you the presidency without making you new first, because their plan is to keep you permanently inferior. Hearing this northern leader speak today proves Kanu's words were not exaggeration but prophecy. Now, the global perspective. No modern democracy tells one tribe to seek forgiveness, but running for president, imagine in America, they told African Americans to go and seek understanding from whites before leading. It will be condemned worldwide. Why is it acceptable in Nigeria when it comes to Igbos? The Yoruba mention. Notice how he said the Yoruba are more comfortable to vote for. That reveals the mindset that the political structure has been designed to favor certain regions while permanently placing Igbos at the bottom of the ladder, no matter what their qualifications. If the call to seek understanding was truly about national unity, then all regions should be required to do it. But when it's only directed at Igbos, it stops being reconciliation and becomes a tool of control. Every Igbo youth should start asking, if we must keep begging for what should be our constitutional right, then are we truly equal citizens of this country, or are we just tolerated participants in a system built to keep us down? Now, as 2027 approaches, I want you guys to listen carefully. You will hear the same words again. Igbo must beg, Igbo must seek forgiveness. They are already preparing the ground. This is why we must confront this narrative now before it repeats, because what they are feeling is that if an Igbo man doesn't beg, no matter who is coming out for the presidential seat, and as well as it's an Igbo man, and he doesn't come out and do a word toward apology, that person is not going to win the presidential seat. And that is how they are now. It now seems like before an Igbo man will ascend that position, he needs to go and do a proper apology. It's just like carrying goat and yam to go and appease some certain kind of people. But whenever the Northerners or the Yorubas are coming out for their own presidential election, nobody tells them to come and abuse or anybody or come and tender an apology. Nobody tells them to do that. It's so bad. Now, the constitution versus reality. Nigerian constitution says every citizen is equal and every region has the right to produce a president. But when a national leader openly says Igbo must first seek understanding or forgiveness, it proves that the constitution is just a piece of paper and the real paper lies in regional bias. Now, political gaslighting. Each election, they tell Igbos to unite and negotiate for the presidency. When Igbos do, they shift the goalpost and say, you are not united enough, go and seek understanding. This is political gaslighting designed to keep the Igbos chasing a moving target that never arrives. When you condition a tribe to always beg before leadership, you are psychologically placing them as third-class citizens, or rather second-class citizens. This is how nations create systematic oppression without openly saying it. Now, the war ended, but did it? They say that Nigerian war ended, but do you really think that the war really ended? Because looking at what is going on in Nigeria currently, I think that the war is still on. It is still on. Nigerians love to say no victor, no vanquish, but every time Igbos ask for power, the tone changes. Remember the war, seek forgiveness, reconcile. If we are still being told to seek forgiveness 54 years after the war, then the war never really ended for the Igbos. It never really ended. The Igbos are the economic backbone of Nigeria. From Lagos to Kano, they build markets and industries, yet the same nation tells them they are not trusted enough to lead. That is why Mazenam Dekalo said, you cannot be the engine and still remain the slave. You cannot. By saying the Yorubas are more comfortable to vote for, they are deliberately fueling a divide between the southeast and the southwest. This is the classic strategy. Keep the two southern regions apart so they never unite politically. Now, forgiveness without a crime. In law, you can only seek forgiveness when there's a defined crime. What crime have the Igbos committed that requires them to beg before leading? If no one can name the offense, then this is not reconciliation, it is humiliation. The hypocrisy of national unity. They say Nigeria is one, but if a section of the country must keep begging for a right others enjoy freely, then Nigeria is not one nation. It is a nation with hidden classes. Now, why Mazenam Dekalo is fair? Statements like this northern leaders are why Nnamdi Kanu is feared, because every time he says the system is designed to keep Igbos down, the politicians prove him right with their own words. Imagine if the United Nations hears that a whole tribe in Nigeria is told to seek forgiveness to get the presidency 60 years after independence. It will be condemned as ethnic discrimination. But inside Nigeria, they call it political strategy. If the Igbos must always beg for the presidency, then is Nigeria really one nation? Are we just forcing different nations into one map? Because it's not clear. You're telling Igbos to beg when the Yorubas never beg before they become the president. They become a president of this country. This statement exposes Nigerians' unwritten law. Every other region is born with the right to lead, but Igbos must earn it through begging. This is not democracy, that is institutional discrimination hiding under the politics. Now, for decades, forcing Igbos to seek understanding before leadership has been a tool to break their political confidence. It sends a message to every Igbo, to every Igbo child, you are less than others. That's psychological warfare. The pattern since 1970. Now, let's look back. Since the end of the Civil War, every major national decision keeps the Igbos outside the core power structure. This isn't coincidence. It is a careful maintained pattern. They say Igbos must reconcile because Nigerians don't trust them. But what about the trust Igbos give to Nigeria every day by living, working, and building outside their region? If trust is measured by contribution, Igbos have paid in full. When a tribe is told to always beg, they become permanent petitioners in their own country. That is why Nnamdi Kanu said, a free people do not beg to exist, only slaves do. So for the fact that we are begging, it shows that we are what? Slaves. It shows that we are slaves, and which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will never tolerate. Now, presidency as a gift, not a right. Now, I want you guys to listen carefully. They are making this presidency sound like a gift to be handed to Igbos as if they are good enough, not a constitutional right. That's how you strip a people of dignity while smiling in their faces. By the way, this presidency is not a gift, it's a right. The presidency is a right that you have. It's just like you telling people to vote for you and definitely you win. That is just it. It's not a gift. Now, using division as a leverage, by telling Igbos to seek forgiveness from the North and Yoruba, they are indirectly blaming the Igbos for Nigerians' division. That flips the story and makes the victim look like the problem. The silence of other regions. Notice how another region speaks up against this narrative. Their silence means they benefit from it. That's why Nnamdi Kanu said Igbos must fight for themselves because no one else will. No one else you. So when you have one group told to only seek understanding, why others don't? That is a soft form of what? Apathy. Different rules for different tribes in the same country. How is that possible? There's different rules for different tribes in the same country, and they're still expecting that there should be peace in Nigeria. I don't think it's actually possible at all. Now, the seat of the presidency as a weapon. For 50 years, the presidency has been used not as a seat of national unity, but as a tool to remind the Igbos of their place. That is why every 4 years, the same humiliation ritual is keep repeating itself. Every young Igbo must see this. This game is not about merit, it's about power and control. You can be the most qualified candidate, but they will still tell you to beg because it's about keeping you under and not about what? Competence. When a leader publicly says Igbo must beg, it normalizes what? Discrimination. It makes every young Nigerian believe that Igbos are naturally inferior and must seek approval. That is how systematic oppression would survive what generation. So guys, I want you guys, to drop your comment below. What do you really think about those cases? Please, I want you guys to drop your comments below. And also, if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like and share, and turn on the notification button to get all the latest news in this channel. So do you agree with what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, that this is systematic marginalization, or do you believe the Igbos really need to seek forgiveness for something no one can define? Please guys, share this video, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching guys.